The FAA has launched an investigation into that incident involving the First Lady's plane.
Now, that plane came within 3 miles of a C-17 military cargo jet as those planes approached Andrews Air Force Base. Now, that may not seem like it's that close, but those cargo jets produce a large jet wash, so other planes are ordered to stay at least 5 miles away. We should stress both planes did land safely. The FAA says that the First Lady was not in any real danger, but it was still a major violation of air traffic safety rules. We're live with the latest on that straight ahead.
Also ahead, today marks the one-year anniversary of the oil rig explosion that triggered the worst spill in U.S. history. What's the state of the Gulf? Is BP fulfilling its obligations in the region? We're going to talk about that with Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal when he joins us for an exclusive live interview.
Then a story I think you're going to love. A postcard lost in the mail for 24 years. It played a role in ending a dear friendship. But then something remarkable happened. That long-lost piece of mail was recently delivered. This morning, we'll bring those women together face-to-face for the first time since 1987. But let's begin this morning with that close call for a plane carrying First Lady Michelle Obama. NBC's Jim Miklaszewski is at Andrews Air Force Base with the latest on this. Mick, good morning.
Good morning, Matt. And to be clear here, we should emphasize again that Michelle Obama and the rest of the people aboard her plane were never in any imminent danger. Nevertheless, aviation experts tell us this was a close call. Unfortunately, many of those incidents go largely unnoticed, but throw in the First Lady and it gets everyone's attention. Michelle Obama and the Vice President's wife, Jill Biden, were in New York for an appearance on The View before boarding a smaller version of Air Force One for the brief flight back home. It was about 5 in the evening. The Boeing 737 approached Washington, D.C. and flew straight into potential danger. Federal and military officials say civilian controllers at the FAA's radar center in Warrenton, Virginia, allowed the First Lady's plane to get too close behind an Air Force C-17 cargo plane, lumbering toward Andrews Air Force Base. Because of the tremendous jet wash created by these massive cargo planes, the FAA requires a 5-mile separation between planes. But the 737 flew up to within 3 miles of the C-17, well within the danger zone.
This plane should never have been there in the first place. They should have never cut it that close.
When controllers at Warrenton handed Michelle Obama's flight over to the tower at Andrews, an Air Force controller immediately recognized the problem. He ordered the 737 to make a series of S-turns to slow it down and put distance between the two planes, but they were still too close. Once the cargo plane landed, it couldn't get off the runway fast enough as the 737 carrying the First Lady made its approach. To prevent a collision, the Air Force controller ordered the 737 to abort the landing and execute a fly-around, taking the plane in a wide circle before safely landing minutes later.
It was a harrowing experience. Luckily, it ended safely.
Air Force officials say none of the passengers aboard the 737 were even aware of the problem and the evasive maneuvers. The dramatic incident comes on the heels of a series of air traffic controller mistakes, and most recently, controllers falling asleep on the job in the tower. Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood told NBC News, keeping planes separated at a safe distance is one of the most vital roles for air traffic controllers.
Controllers need to take personal responsibility for one of the most important safety jobs in aviation. When they don't, they'll be suspended.
The FAA will suspend controllers for serious errors. This seems to fall in the category of a serious error that could have put the First Lady's life in jeopardy.
Unfortunately, this is not an isolated incident. Mistakes by civilian air controllers at that Warrenton facility that we talked about earlier more than doubled in the past year. So, the Transportation Secretary and FAA have much bigger problems than just the First Lady. But Meredith, many would consider that a pretty big problem.
All right, Mick, thank you very much.